A Small Piece of the Puzzle. Created and narrated by Stephen Harwood. A Small Piece of the Puzzle by Stephen Harwood. Chapter 1. 1947. I'm not sure how it happened, but with no consultation and against my will, I suddenly found myself in my 70s. It occurs to me that if I don't tell my story, a tiny piece of a giant jigsaw puzzle will be missing. It's not an important piece like a straight edge or a corner, more like a bit of blue sky. Still, the puzzle isn't complete without every piece being in place. To begin at the beginning, I was born in Darwin in England, the neighbouring town of Blackburn, in July 1947. My pedigree on my mother's side is largely unknown. I knew my maternal grandparents, Joseph and Mary Donnelly, and I knew my mother's siblings, Elizabeth and Tom Donnelly, and that was it. When it comes to my father's side, I can go back a little further. The information I have about my grandfather I gleaned from a splendid work, The Harwoods of Darwin, by Michael Harwood. I believe that, like most people, my life, as I remember it, is a series of flashbulb memories. First day at school, first kiss, holding my child for the first time my heart was broken, as clear in my mind today as they were many decades ago. Apparently, the most important relationship a boy can have is the relationship with his father. Perhaps that's why I'm a little bit fucked up. My relationship with my dad was virtually non-existent. In his defence, though, and to paraphrase the poet Philip Larkin, he was fucked up in his turn. My father was both in my life and absent from it until I said goodbye in August 1986. My paternal grandfather, also Harry Harwood, was born in Darwin in 1894. At the age of 21, Harry Sr. was conscripted into the Royal Lancaster Regiment of the British Expeditionary Force and sent to France. He was wounded in the leg and neck in 1917 and sent home to Blackburn. The injuries left him with continual tremors and severe alcoholism. Despite these obvious drawbacks, he returned to his trade of gentleman's hairdresser and continued to practice until a few weeks before his demise from cirrhosis at the age of 37. My father left school and went to work, apprenticed to his father at the age of 16. A year later my grandfather died and my father finished his apprenticeship with another gentleman's hairdresser, Leo Middlehurst. I think my father had been cosseted by his mother. My mother told me that my paternal grandmother had tried, obviously without success, to dissuade him from marrying her. "You can't go marrying a Catholic. They breed like rabbits." My father was conscripted into the RAF and in 1940 was sent as ground crew to the North Africa campaign. In 1943, when the campaign ended, he returned to England and, in 1944, he married my mum. Dad remained officially in the RAF until he was demobilised in 1945. He was stationed at RAF Carking-Cartmel, a village in North Lancashire. The RAF base was built for and abandoned after World War II. Mum moved as close as she could to the base and rented digs in the nearby village of Fluteborough. Once Dad was demobbed, they moved back to Darwin and stayed with my paternal grandmother. My older sister Claire was born in my grandmother's house in May 1945, and in July 1947 I put in an appearance. While Dad was waiting for his demob papers, he and Mum looked around the villages and small towns near Cark. They decided to live in the area and chose Grange-over-Sands, a town of 3,000 souls, a few miles from RAF Carking-Cartmel. I can only speculate that the couple were filled with optimism about the future. They probably talked about life in the lovely little town, Mum the home builder, Dad the gentleman's hairdresser, kids the bucolic life. My mum told me that while she and Dad were walking the highways and byways of Grange, thinking how pretty the small town was, she'd admired all the Edwardian-style houses, all the homes, that is, except for one row of 7 terraced houses. Industrial towns of northern England were full of rows of terraced houses. Think of every BBC Sunday night drama series you've ever seen. The buildings were solid enough, but had the drawback of common walls with the neighbours. The idea of a detached house was my mum's dream. She could see herself in the garden, snipping a few roses to put in a vase. Her heart sank when Dad told her one day he'd
Sample complete. Ready to continue?